Hello, hello. Good afternoon, guys. It's Monday. I am going to be playing with my favorite pink eyeshadow and my favorite pink lip. I'm going to show you guys how to recreate this. I am going to move rose water in your mouth. It's not that good, but it's so good for your skin. I am going to move extremely fast because we got to get ready to go. So put on a little bit of my serum. This is the Youth Pluction serum. This is going to give me hydration. This is going to help with my dry skin. This is going to help with fine lines and wrinkles. I always make sure I put it underneath my eyes, and I even put it on top of my eyes. The reason that I do that when I'm using my serums, as long as it doesn't have any retinol in it and it doesn't have any really strong active ingredients, if it is for hydrating, I always put it on my eyelids because your eyelids get dry. And I do not want my eyelids to get dry and flake to where when I put on any of my makeup, you can see that when you apply any kind of eyeshadow or powder to your lids. So I always moisturize my lids, but make sure that you are not putting anything on your eyelids that has anything that has like a strong active ingredient. Okay, so no retinols, I would probably not put salicylic acid and glycolic acid on top of your eyelids. That's why I use this instead of my Glow Plexion. My Glow Plexion I do around the eyes. I don't really put it up on the eyes. So that's to keep my eyes from getting irritated or getting any kind of like burning feel. Let's do another layer of rose water. I like to do multiple layers because it's really, really hydrating and putting that moisture into my skin while I'm doing all the different layers of my skincare. So during my skincare process, especially, I would say especially at night, right before I go to bed, I will do probably like 6 or 7 layers of the rose water in between like all the different layers of my skincare. I don't have as many steps in the morning because in the morning, at night, your body regenerates. It turns over like the cell process and the growth in your skin, the rejuvenating and regenerating of your skin. So nighttime, I kind of go a little bit heavier with the layers, but I mean, you could do the same thing during the day, so it doesn't matter. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining in from. Good morning, Nubia, my beautiful friend. You said it's pouring and it's windy. Oh, that sucks. That was us yesterday, Nubia. It rained and poured all day yesterday. It was chilly. It was just kind of nasty. Today it is sun shining. It is a clear, bright blue sky, and it's pretty outside. All right, let's go in. I'm definitely gonna put a little bit more of this on my neck and my chest. This is the new beauty oil. This is our squalane oil, not squalene. So it's a new formula, and it is also a quick dry formula. I tested this out. I told you guys that I was going to test this over about a week and a half process to see if this dried my skin out, and it does not. So I am very happy to report it is not drying my skin out. The only thing that I recommend is to make sure you're using your moisturizer, okay? So I did the test for you. It does not actually dry your skin out. It is going to be very moisturizing to your skin, and it also makes your skin extremely soft. I wanted to do this test because, sorry, my nose is running just a little bit. So I've got a little paper towel right here. Let me just, I guess my allergies are terrible right now. Anyway, so I wanted to test it because when I first got this and started using it, I was like, my skin looks like it's starting to dry out just a little bit. Well, I had a sneaking suspicion. I was like, okay, it's either one of two things. It's either the new oil, okay, because of it being a quick dry, or it's just that we're in the dead of winter. And that's exactly what it was. We were in the dead of winter. And so, my skin was just extremely dry, and it was parched, and it was thirsty, and it needed all of my skincare. So the oil, like I said, so happy to report, the oil is amazing. It will not dry your skin out, and it's actually gonna be very nice for girls that have oily skin because it's going to give you that little boost of hydration that we all knew. Sorry, I was reading Nubia stuff, that we all need, But if you are an oily skin girl or a combo skin girl, what it's not going to do is, because it is a quick dry, it is going to do a really good job of going onto your skin, absorbing into your skin, but not leaving you with that oily, kind of oily feel on top of your skin. It's going to dry in and it's going to give you all the benefits of the ingredients. So I am actually very happy and very impressed. And again, super proud to report back to you that it's amazing. And you guys, it's not going to dry your skin out. So it's so good. So you heard it from me. I tested it for about 2 weeks. Really, I actually did one half of my face with the new oil. So let me show you. This is how I tested it. I did the right side of my face with the new oil, and I did the left side of my face with the old oil. Okay. So this is this side, and there was no difference in my skin. The only thing that I noticed in my skin was this side of my face felt softer and smoother. And again, it didn't leave you with that kind of oily look or feel, because I will say I would always mix in with my concealer, and I would also mix this in with my Serum Plus foundation just to kind of make it a little bit thinner. And yeah, so there we go. So now you know, I give you my little feedback on that. All right, let me dry my skin just a little bit. We're gonna let that all soak in, and we're gonna make sure, I'm probably going to, we have plans every single weekend for the next 3 weeks. So I am going to be super busy, but I need to make sure I keep my tan up, because you know when you self-tan, how when the tan starts to, I was going to say fade, but with self-tanning, it's not fading. Self-tanning, you start to get that kind of like crusty, peeling, splotchy look, and I cannot stand that look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just, over the next couple of weeks, every single week. So this week I'll probably do it on Wednesday or Thursday. I'm going to exfoliate really good in the areas that I feel like it might start, and I'm going to tan again. And then the next week, same thing. I'm going to exfoliate in some areas, and then I'm going to tan again. So that over the next 3 weeks, I'm going to keep my tan. Hopefully I'll get even darker if I'm doing it every week. But I want to make sure that, like, this coming weekend when we go to the winery, my skin looks good. The next weekend when we go to Knoxville to go to the dance convention, I want to look good, right? And then the next weekend when we go to Pigeon Forge to, you know, do the little private family memorial for my grandmother, you know, I feel good about myself, right? You know, it's already going to be depressing, although it will be fun. I ordered some board games. You guys, I'm so excited. I am so excited. Cindy, have you ever done lives on TikTok? I have not. I am not on TikTok that much. When TikTok first came out, I kind of jumped on the bandwagon a little bit and started making some like silly little things, but I didn't really understand the editing process at that point. That was like right in the middle of like full-blown COVID, and it was all new to me, and I honestly just did not get it. I did not understand everything around TikTok. Instagram, I will tell you, Instagram is a little bit easier to use, and I really haven't done very many Instagram lives either. I just honestly, I love Facebook. I feel like Facebook is where my people are. I feel like Facebook is also, I'm double priming, guys. So I did my illuminating, but I'm going to do my blurring primer in the areas that I want to blur. I feel like Facebook is like my people, right? Like, I feel like Facebook is my age people. I feel like when I get over on TikTok, and sometimes even Instagram, don't get me wrong, Instagram and TikTok, they're all ages, but I just feel like when I get on TikTok, I feel like it's like the youngins. I do. I feel like it's all the young kids. It's like I hear my nieces and I hear my daughter, and they're talking about like Snapchat, and they're talking about TikTok and all these things. And like my niece, Tori, that's in college, she is on TikTok every single day. And I'm like, I just kind of feel like TikTok's for the kids. I really like Facebook. Facebook is where most of ladies my age or older, right? You know, so I just kind of feel like Facebook is my comfort zone. Maybe I should branch out a little bit more. Maybe I should try it and just see what happens. We'll see. I don't know. TikTok scares me because TikTok, again, all the youngins are over there. And I'm like, I don't want 18 and 19-year-old people to be nasty to me. I don't know. We'll see. All right. I'm going to use Serum Plus today. We're going to go in with Eyelet. Hello, Lucius. Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate that. This weekend was our family memorial, and I have to say it was absolutely beautiful. It was done so good. The preacher that did the speaking up there for everybody, because my mom and her two sisters, they didn't really want to speak just because it's hard when it's your parent. They did get up there and sing. I don't know how they kept it together. I talked to my mom and both of my aunts, and my one aunt, I told her, I was like, I don't know how y'all did that. Y'all did so good. Y'all didn't break down once. And she goes, I was just staring at a letter on a banner at the back of the church the whole time. And then my mom just wouldn't look at anybody. And as soon as they were done singing and my mom clicked her mic off, she lost it. And I was like, oh, it was so hard. But it was so beautiful, and they did such a good job. On my personal page, I actually shared the video of my mom and her two sisters singing because that was my grandmother's request. And some people might not understand that, but in my family is very musical. So many of us sing. I actually went to Nashville and recorded a CD years ago, probably almost 20 years ago. Was going to get into singing, and then I went through my divorce, and I just fell out of it. I just was like, you know what? If I'm going to be a single mom, I'm not going to have time to sing in bars. I'm not going to have time to go, 2 nights a week and practice with the band. And that's the thing, is it takes a lot of dedication and a lot of work if you are going to be in a band. If you're going to be a singer, you've got to be able to know the timing for when you're going to end a song. You've got to be able to know, hey, this means wrap it up. You know what I mean? Like, you got to know the cues. You got to be able to communicate with your people on stage without telling them. So you have to practice a couple times a week. But that was one thing that I loved when I was a child. My grandfather sang, and my grandfather actually kind of sounded a little bit like Elvis. I'm going to put a little bit of illuminating primer in, not a lot, in my Serum Plus. So I'm mixing my little concoction right here. But my grandfather sang. He actually had a CD back in the, 60s, 50s or 60s. My aunts all sing. My one aunt is some people say aunt, I say aunt, I'm from the South. She actually was a booking agent for years and years and years. She was friends with the Doobie Brothers. She was friends with the Allman Brothers. She was friends with so many musicians, and would sing with them. My mom used to sing around all the time in Atlanta. She had as musicians you would call gigs. She would have gigs all over the place. My mom used to sing at weddings all the time. My grandfather would, of course, he was the minister of music. My grandmother was the children's choir director, and she was also the person that was in charge of all the Easter and Christmas cantatas and all the dramas at church for us as kids. And of course, we were always the kids in the Easter and Christmas programs. And we would have our singing parts as children. But one of the things that I absolutely loved was my grandfather. I like investigation stuff on TikTok. Now, I could get into that. I love me some like podcast and some investigation, like true crimes. I love documentaries on stuff like that. The whole like drama, mystery, murder, whodunits. That's one that's like that I love. When I travel by myself, like when I'm going to see my daughter and I've got like a 5.5, 6 hour drive, anytime I'm traveling by myself, I always find me a good murder mystery, true crime podcast to listen to. And that's what keeps me going while I am driving. Like, I love it. Who else loves that? And if you have any favorites, if you will drop it and let me know like what your favorites are on who you love to listen to so that I can start, or maybe like the rest of us can like go check them out. I love it though. So good. But anyway, what I was saying is one of the things that I loved was when I was a child, my grandfather, this is just one of those things. Like, you know how when family members pass, especially grandparents, and then you go back and you start thinking about all the things that you did growing up. and all the memories. So some of the memories that I have was my grandfather always sang, okay? Like if you, even just on a regular just weeknight, okay? Because we lived with my grandparents a lot growing up. My mom, again, was a single mom. She had 3 girls. And a lot of times when my mom would have to put our house up on the market, not necessarily for sale, she would rent it sometimes. And we would go live with my grandparents, and we lived with my grandparents several times as I was growing up. And every time we would live with them, like the memories. And that's why I think it's, you know, my grandparents had a large part of helping raise us. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, my grandparents would bring us groceries. I mean, look, when my mom couldn't afford, and my mom was at work or, you know, whatever, because my dad was not the best at paying child support, but my grandparents would always bring us groceries. They would bring us food. They would help out so much. They were just the best. And I think that's kind of why, I guess that's why I am the way I am with family on, like, because people have said in the years, why do you help your family so much? You let your nieces live with you. You help your sister, because my sister is a single mom. They're like, why do you do so much for your family? And I'm like, because that's all I know. That's what we do when you're a family oriented person and you come from a large, very close-knit family, and the family has always kind of leaned on each other, then it just kind of trickles down, and that's kind of what you do just naturally because you kind of learned it from your grandparents. So I have taken a lot of heat through the years on the fact that, you know, I help and I do so much with family, and I always put family first, because some people don't understand that. People that don't come from families like that, they don't understand that, right? My grandparents played a large part in helping my mom with us. You know what I mean? And like helping my mom, in helping my aunts and uncles, or I guess my aunts and my cousins. Like there were a couple of my cousins that we were kind of laughing about how many of us lived with our grandparents through the years. Like all of us did. We all took turns. At some point they would take us in, and I think that's just the way it is. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to let your family members be out on the street. You know what I mean? So you just kind of take them in and help them get through whatever they're going through. Hey, Mom. So one of the things that I absolutely love, and one of my memories, and my mom's going to know this, is my favorite thing growing up was we would always go to my grandparents' house every Sunday after church, because we would drive to the church that my grandparents went to. We all drove over there. Okay. So I don't know, Mom, how far did we live? If we lived in Stockbridge and that was over in Stone Mountain, was that like a 45-minute drive? I don't know. How far was it? I was a kid. I don't know. But we would always drive to that church, and we would go to the church with my grandparents. Then afterwards, every Sunday, all of the cousins, all the aunts, everybody would go to my grandma's house, and she had cooked a pot roast or she had cooked fried chicken, and we would all go over there and we would eat. And I will never forget, like my cousins would be outside playing football because we were the only girls. Like my mom was one of 3 girls. Okay. So my grandmother had 3 daughters, and then my mom had 3 daughters, but my aunts all had boys. Okay. So I was the first granddaughter. It was so funny because somebody said that my grandmother's best friend, her name was her name is Sandra. She was there, and I went up to her. I haven't seen her in years. And I went up to her, and somebody asked, not Sandra, but somebody else in the circle asked, like, who was I? And I said, well, I'm Tammy's oldest daughter. And they were like, oh, you were the first granddaughter. I'm like, I am the first granddaughter, and I am the first daughter of the family, like from my grandparents. And they were all laughing. And they said, what does that mean? And I was like, that means that I'm always right. That means that I'm always right. My husband knows that. We laugh and joke. I'm also the one that is a little bit of a control freak, because I'm the one that likes to like put the family gatherings together. And Mom, you know, Vicky's probably a lot like me as well. I don't know. It's something in being the first daughter. It's just the way it is. The oldest always is the bossy one that thinks they're always right and always trying to put all the things together. Yep, that's all I know too. I can hear my, oh, I love that, Felicia. I love that. I started listening to, okay, let's see what Patty said. She started listening to Bailey Siren. Oh, she's so good. Let's see, I would listen to her. She is a great storyteller, and I started watching her do makeup with listening to podcast. Go on my walks. Yeah, she's really, really good. I remember when she first came out, it was kind of odd, the whole like putting on makeup and then telling scary stories, but she's really, really good. Do you prefer this concealer? I do, honestly, because it's thinner. It's thinner. It's not as thick, and I feel like you don't need as much, and it's really, really silky. So Tiffany, I do like this one a lot better. I don't have to thin it down. The other one, I would have to put oil in it and thin it down to where it didn't cake up underneath my eyes. So I do prefer that. But at the same time, always remember to blood don't make you family. Oh, 100%, Felicia. We've got family members that, you know, that aren't so good. They're actually deceased now. And I'm not even going to say what I'm going to say. He was a very bad man, and I hope that he's in a very, not a special place. I hope he's in a place where he is getting punished for things that he has done. So yeah, blood does not always make you family. I've got people that are not blood, but are like family. Hello, Aaron. That's how my family's too. I don't have time for friends because family. I know that's the thing. I'm like, I try really hard, Patty, to make time for my friends, but it's more like my family is my friends. And with me having 3 sisters and like 6 nieces, they take a lot of time. They take a lot of time. I'm going to pick up Harper. Okay, tell her I said hello. Anyway, so one of the great memories that I remember is my grandfather would always, his karaoke machine wasn't really a karaoke machine. It was his singing machine where he would practice singing all the time because my grandfather's singing was everything. And he and my mom and her 2 sisters, my aunts, would go over, and us kids would just run around the house. We would run around the house, and they would all practice singing, getting ready for shows, getting ready for Christian concerts at other church events. They used to do all kinds of things. And so I remember as a child laying across my grandparents' bed, like the foot of the bed with my hands like this, and just watching them sing, because my mom and her 2 sisters, they harmonize so beautifully. And there's like specific songs that I remember them singing, and I love it so much. And those are like my favorite songs. Those are like my favorite songs. My mom used to sing Babby Mason all the time. I remember going to Babby Mason's house. My mom became friends with her, and we would go over there and they would discuss music, and my mom would ask her, like, do you mind if I sing the song? And Babby would give her permission to sing the songs. And it was just really, really cool. But that's like a big part of what I remember as a kid is watching them sing and watching them practice. So my grandmother had asked, that was one of her wishes, was that for her girls to sing at her funeral. And they did. And they did such an amazing job. And anyway, that's just one of my little memories that I love, and little thing about my family. So, all right, I will say that with this new powder, I don't really feel like it has to be set as much. So I'm not even going to do the under part where it tends to get a little like, you know, wrinkly and crepey up underneath my eye. I'm just going to stick to the outside corners. But because this is so thin, I don't really feel like I have to set right in here. Does that make sense? So I'm just setting in the inside corner and then just setting in the outside corner, because there's certain areas on your face that you just really don't want to put powder. Powder and wrinkles, they just don't match. They just don't go together. Powder and wrinkles, it's just accentuating your fine lines and wrinkles. And so if you're gonna use it, just make sure you use a very, very light dusting amount. But I will say that with this new concealer, I don't really feel like I need it. I need it right here just in this like tear trough area to kind of camouflage that. But then directly underneath the eye right there, if you do anything, okay, pat everything off and just lightly go across it, okay? Just lightly go across it. Hello, Debbie. All right, we're gonna play with some pinks. I'm gonna put some color back into my face. We're gonna go dancing tonight, so I'm really excited. We were supposed to go out Saturday night, and I will tell you, after an emotional day, I did not feel like going out. I was exhausted. The drive home took a lot out of me. I mean, it was a lot of crying. It was a lot of ups and downs because we drove all of like my nieces and my sister Brandy out to the funeral or memorial. And, you know, we laughed and we giggled and, you know, told stories and things like that. And then we went in and we cried, and then we laughed with our cousins and things. And then on the way home, we stopped for lunch, and then we got some coffee, and, you know, and we stopped in this town. It's called, is it Madison? No, Monroe. It's Monroe, Georgia. And hold on, wait, didn't somebody say they were from Knoxville? Let me scroll back up. I think I got sidetracked. I remember saying something, somebody said something from Knoxville. Somebody said something about Knoxville. I saw it. Hello from Tennessee. Amy, was it you that said you were from Knoxville? Trying to find it. It was Amanda. Amanda said, I am from Knoxville, Tennessee, and Pigeon Forge has so many fun things. So we did a family trip to Pigeon Forge years ago, and we had like a big cabin, and there was 20 something of us in the cabin, and it was a lot of fun. We actually took my grandparents up there and went to Dollywood. My grandfather loved it because we did all the shows where we got to see all the performances where they were singing, and some of them were like Dolly's Family. If you haven't been to Dollywood, highly recommend it. It's super clean, it's safe, and it's such a good place for families. Yeah, I would not go to Six Flags in Atlanta anymore. I just don't feel like it's a safe place. I don't know. It also just seems very run down. I know it's old, but I just would not. Thank you, Debbie. I have to say, I love your techniques and doing your makeup. You're a very talented lady, and I love your stories. Well, thank you, Patty. Thank you so much. Because sometimes I feel like I come on here and I'm just like, well, I don't really know what to talk about today. I'm just going to go with whatever comes to mind. I don't ever have like a plan on what I'm going to talk about. When I first started, I did because I didn't know. Now I just come on here and I'm like, hey, y'all, what are we going to talk about? I don't know. But before I was like, okay, today we're going to talk about eyeshadow, and we're going to talk about contour, and I'm going to use this, and I'm going to tell them what's in it. I don't do that anymore. I'm like, listen, I'm not going to try to sell to y'all. Yes, I'm going to tell you I got bundles and I got discounts and things like that. But if you want to buy, you're going to buy. If you're not, you're not. I'm not going to be one of those pesky saleswomen that's like, you need to buy now. It's going to run out. I mean, I'm going to tell you tonight's the last night for this or whatever. But it's your choice. If you want to buy from me, you'll buy from me. If not, you're here just to hang out, and that's fine. What a beautiful day for all of you to come together to say goodbye. Would love. Yes, I agree. I think my grandparents were super happy that day. We actually did a little memorial for my grandfather as well. So both of their ashes were up there side by side in between, or framing the flowers up in the front of the church, because when my grandfather died, it was right in the middle of COVID. And we were not able to have a memorial for him. So this was kind of nice to be able, it was mainly, you know, since hers was fresh, it was mainly to celebrate her, but he was up there as well. And we had both of their pictures up there, and we just kind of did like a little memorial for both of them. So I thought it was really sweet. And they were married for 67 years. 67 years. So that kind of explains why when my grandfather passed, I feel like anybody that has been married for a long period of time, like my other grandparents, when my grandmother passed, my grandfather on that side was like, I'm just ready to go. I'm just ready to go see my wife. I'm ready to go home. And same thing, my grandmother was just like, I'm ready to go. We are good. I'm ready to go see my husband. And I think that's very common. That's what makes you great, is how you're so down to earth, but at the same time, y'all have learned sometimes I feel weird, honestly, following people so closely, but you don't have to detail all the listen to you and others. Don't feel weird. Don't feel weird at all. That's kind of where we're at. I think COVID kind of opened this up because we were all so stuck in the house during that time that we started following people, and you started kind of getting close to them and learning things about their family and relating to them. And that's the thing that I love about this is it really does kind of bring that person into your house and makes you feel like you have a friend, even if it's not the person that you have, you know, met face to face. I've got people that I talk to on social media that I have never, ever met in my entire life. And some of them are some of my like best friends. And I talk to them some days even more than I talk to my sisters or, you know, some of my friends face to face. So it's kind of crazy how that happens. It really is. What color contour are you using, please? So here's the thing. The color that I just got done using is really, really dark. I don't know that it's for everybody. I will tell you, if this scares you, this one's a little bit dark, okay? Go with this color. This is a more universal color. This one is really, really dark. So this is 9C, which is 9 cool. This one is 8N, which is 8 neutral. I feel like this is kind of a good in-between for people. So if this scares you because it looks like dirt, and I will tell you, this one I feel like does not, I don't want to say it doesn't blend as well, but I think because it's so dark, some people might be a little intimidated when they go to blend, where this one is a little bit more forgiving. You can see I use this one a lot. And when you look at the two colors side by side, you can see this one kind of falls in between a warm and cool tone. So this one falls in between like a bronzer and a contour color. So I'm going to use this one just to warm up my face just a little bit, because it does have a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of that warmth from that color in it, okay? So the 8N is what I typically color match for most girls. I call you guys girls because, listen, we're ladies, but we're girls. Yeah, that's typically what I color match for people. All right, I'm going to take this and we're going to go right in the middle, and we are going to go right here, and we are going to contour the nose just a tad. Now what I do is this line I kind of bring over right up underneath the brow, almost like it's going into the eyeshadow. And you can see how it kind of like frames into the eyebrows, and then just kind of blend that in because we don't want that to be super dark. Anyway, so we're going to be going, so this coming weekend, we're going to a winery with a friend. So it's a couple friend, and her husband, we're all probably going to just meet. I don't know. She said something about riding. So we might just have them come here, and then we will all ride up to the winery together. They want to go by and look at our house. Our house is on the way to the winery. Our house is about 10, 15 minutes from here. So she's like, I really want to see where you guys are building your house. So that's what we are all going to go do. And then I might have a glass of champagne. I don't know. It depends. I don't really drink that much. I haven't drank in a while. Even at Christmas, I will say, when we were at Brandy's house, there were, you know, like I got a glass of champagne. I probably took 4 sips out of it, and then I gave it to somebody else. I'm just not into it. I haven't been drinking, you know, so I'm like, it is whatever. I like more of a bronzer. What was that number again? Okay, so the one that's a little bit more like the bronzer that's in between is 8, like the number 8, N for neutral. That's the one that I recommend for most girls, okay? Because the 9C is really dark, as you can see. And this darker color, if you have pores, you know, that you feel like you can really see, that darker color can get stuck in those pores and feel like it doesn't blend out as well. So this is kind of my favorite color. So I have a button / pug nose. How should I contour that? What I would do is I would make sure you get like a small brush, and I would do the point like this. So instead of doing this on the bottom, you can, I would say, play with it, but you want to bring it down almost to like a point. to where you're elongating the nose, and then make sure you do these lines up on the top edge of the nose. So not the corners, okay? We're not taking it and coloring on the sides. You want to do the top edge up towards the brow, and that's just going to elongate the nose. And then if you want to just do the tip a little bit, it just depends, because when you say that, there's so many different shapes of noses, and some turn up a little bit more than others. So yeah, you just have to kind of play with it a little bit. Contouring, not... I knew what you were saying. When I saw it, I knew you were saying contouring. We are not conjuring. No, we're not conjuring up anything. We don't do that. Okay, let's do a little bit of blush. I'm going to go in with a little bit brighter blush. This blush is not available right now, but what I would use in place of this would be Fresh Orchid. Fresh Orchid. And I might pop a little bit of Fresh Orchid on top of this in a little bit once I get my eyeshadow on, just to see if I need a little bit brighter color. This one's a little bit more pink to match my shirt, but once I get my eyeshadow on, I might need a little bit more. Okay, now the free gift for the next 3 or 4 days, and I say that because to me, I'm like, it's 3 days, but they do give you until like 7 o'clock in the morning the next day. So until Thursday morning at like 7 a.m., it is a free eyelash curler. This is my favorite eyelash curler. So just letting you know, that is the free gift. You buy 3 items, you get that for free. This is my favorite pink. We're going in with pink eyeshadow. We are gonna go in with this color right here, okay? And we're gonna make sure that we tap out any creases from your foundation or your concealer, depending on what you used. You need to be using something on your eyelids if you want your eyeshadow to stay put and your colors to pop. That was one of the biggest things that I used to get when I worked at the hospital. The nurses, I'll never forget, this is so funny. One day I wasn't feeling well and I went back to the nurses station and I was like, guys, I don't feel good. I'm like, something's wrong. I don't feel good. I feel like my heart. And at this point, that's when I had to go to a cardiologist, and they hooked me up to a monitor for like 4 days. But the nurse is like, come in here, lay down, let's take your blood pressure, let's check everything. And I literally was laying in the bed and they were checking my blood pressure. I had like 2 nurses in the room with me, and these are my friends. And I had my eyes closed and they were commenting on my eyeshadow. And this was like, I don't even know, 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago. And they were like, how do you get your eyeshadow to stay? And I was like, what do you mean? And they were like, when I wear eyeshadow, I feel like my eyeshadow runs throughout the day. And by the time I get to lunchtime, I don't feel like the eyeshadow that I put on, you can even see anymore. And I told them, I was like, well, number one, if you have oily skin, then it definitely slides around and does not stay put and tends to kind of, you know, I'm going to say bleed off, but not necessarily bleed off, wash off or whatever. It just kind of like works its way off throughout the day. It just doesn't stay put. If you are somebody that touches your eyes a lot, that's going to be another thing that you will notice. If you are somebody that doesn't even realize that you rub your eyes a lot during the day, then that's going to remove your makeup as well if you don't have something that's really kind of like priming it and holding it in place. So I like to put, some girls use an eye primer, like an eyeshadow primer, and that's good because eye primers tend to be sticky, you know, a little bit sticky, to where the makeup stays put, which is something for ladies with hooded eyes too. But I do use either a foundation or a concealer because I don't like the stickiness. I don't know, that's just me. I don't like to put that on and feel like my eyes feel sticky. So I like to use a concealer, tap it in, and then just make sure you don't put any eyeshadow on top of any creases, because once you do that, you have basically set that crease for the day. And then when you close your eyes, everybody that looks at you, if you're going to pay for something, if you're sitting at a table and you look down to dial a phone number or you're reading the menu, people are going to see those creases. I've seen it before in public where I'm talking to somebody at a cash register and they look down to give me change And I see like 2 little creases where they put eyeshadow on and it creased. All right, so we're gonna do this, okay? Now I'm gonna take a fluffy crease brush. I'm gonna grab this color. We're just going to throw this on. But anyway, yeah, so it is winery this weekend, and this winery, you guys, is beautiful. It's made to look like you're in Italy. It's gorgeous. It's built into the side of this hill. It's this very European, French, Italian villa building overlooking the vineyard. It's so pretty. And then they've got like multiple restaurants. So the last time we went, Pat and I went up there and had dinner. And it wasn't even a special occasion. It was just, hey, do you want to go to the winery? Get dressed up, let's go. And I was like, oh, okay. He made dinner reservations and it was so good. That one's a little bit more, you know, pricey. And it's the nicer restaurant where people get dressed up. But then down below, they have this like little cafe where you can go get pizzas and pastas and sandwiches. And then you can go outside and sit by a fire. And so that's where we're going to go this time. We haven't tried that one yet. And I will take you guys along with us and show you this place. It's so pretty. But that's what we're doing this weekend. Next weekend, like I said, we're going to Knoxville, Tennessee. If you don't know what Knoxville is, I always laugh and tell my husband, I'm like, you know, Tennessee's got a lot of bulls. If you live in Tennessee, you know what I'm talking about. If you spend a lot of time in Tennessee or have traveled through Tennessee, you're going to know what I'm talking about. We got Knoxville, we got Nashville, we got Crossville, we got, I mean, there's so many bulls. Cookville, there's, I don't even know. I think I can't even think of all the ones, but they've got a lot of vols. And a lot of people look at it and say Ville, because it's V-I-L-L-E. They say Nashville, it's Nashville. It's Knoxville, especially if you're from there. They're like, they have a very, very specific way they talk. And my husband's family is all from Tennessee. And so we were on the beach one time and there's like not really a dialect, but accent for certain areas. So it's kind of like this. People that live in South Georgia tend to be a little bit more twangy country than people that live in like North Georgia. And then the same thing, like we were on the beach one time next to this family and there was this group of girls. I don't know if they were, it was a family, but I almost think it was like a girls trip because it was like the mother and then the daughters, but they were all grown. And I don't know if it was a bachelorette trip or what, but we sat there beside them for like a day. And then the next day, Pat asked them, like, where are you guys from? Because he kept telling me, he's like, they're from Tennessee. And I was like, really? You can pick up on that? And he goes, oh yeah, they're from Tennessee. And he's like, I think they're from Knoxville. He's like, people that live in Knoxville have a very specific sound in the way they pronounce their words. And we asked them, and sure enough, they were. And so we ended up like sitting beside them every day and talking to them and like laughing about things. And it was a fun trip. We only had like 2 days left after that, but we enjoyed kind of hanging out next to them and talking to them. They were really nice. We were like talking to them about all the things about Tennessee that we know and how, you know, his family lives in Crossville and some live in Knoxville. And anyway, so if you know, you know. Okay, so eyeshadow is on. I feel like I need a little bit of the darker up here. So yeah, we're gonna be up there. I actually still have to buy tickets. You guys, I am such a procrastinator. I have not bought tickets yet, and we're supposed to go up there Friday. And it's tickets to get into this whole dance conference convention. Super exciting. You can take lessons with professional dance instructors. And then I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna pay to take lessons with this couple that's from Texas. It's a husband and wife, and they do a lot of private lessons, and you can even take lessons with them virtually. My friend Barbara and her husband Mike, they pay, and so I think once a month they do virtual lessons to where they get on like a Zoom, and it's really not that expensive. I think it's like $70 or $75 for an hour. And then, like I said, they do it once a month, and they basically have an area in their house that has like a wooden floor, and then they do lessons with them on how to couples dance. So I think it's really, really cool. And one of the things that I would love to take lessons with them, but in person. So whenever they come to these dance conventions, they offer one-on-one private lessons, face-to-face. And what's cool is, like, if you have a partner, so like Mike and Barbara, Mike will go, so it would be the professional dancers and then Mike and Barbara. So Mike would dance with his wife, and then he would dance with Barbara, and then they teach them things, and then Mike and Barbara would come back together and learn, and they watch and they critique them and help them if they feel like they're not doing something right in like a dip, or if their step is off, or if their timing is off, or something like that. And so I really, really want to do that. But I don't have a partner because my husband doesn't dance. So like, I got to find a partner. I tried to get my friend, Ricky. He's the younger Hispanic guy that I dance with a lot in my videos. He's the exact same age as my daughter, which is so funny. Him and my daughter were born like 3 days apart. I think I shocked him when we first started dancing. He didn't know how old I was. And he worked out with us at the gym, and we used to go in and practice all the time in the Zumba room. And I'll never forget, one day we were dancing and we were practicing, and something was said about a song, and it was like an older song, and he had never heard of it. My left eye's watering so bad. He had never heard of the song, and I was like, Ricky, how old are you? And he's like, at the time, he's like, I'm 27. I think they were 27 at the time, because I've known him for like 3 years now. And I was like, you're 27? And he goes, yeah. I was like, you're the same age as my daughter. And he was like, what? And I said, yeah. He goes, your daughter's 27? And I said, yeah. I said, when's your birthday? And he goes, April, I think he was like 16th, 97. And I'm like, my daughter is April 13th, 97. And he's like, no way. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you're the exact same age as my child. And he goes, how old are you? I was like, I don't even know at the time. I guess I was 45. No, 44. And he freaked out. And I'm like, yes, that's how old I am. Okay, now I am going to put on my liner really quickly. Where is my palette tin? I think I took it to the funeral. I think it's in here. This is my bag that I carry everywhere. You guys, when I need to finish my makeup, and my makeup needs to go with me in the car, here's the difference. When I travel, like need to take everything, then I take this bag. I take this big travel makeup bag. But when I just need to throw in like eyeshadow, powder, mascara, lipstick, lip mask, it goes in this. All these little bags from Casey Chic are my favorite. When these things go on sale, I will tell you, grab one because they are so convenient. When I go line dancing, anytime I need to do something in the car, this bag goes with me and I throw everything. And so when we left for the service, I just threw like the things that I needed to finish into the bag so that I could complete it in the car. And that was like my mascara and my lipstick. That was what I needed to complete. All right, we're gonna do this. You guys know, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna do that. I was gonna change colors, but we're gonna do that because this is my favorites. I'm just tapping. I'll take my magnifying mirror and we're gonna create this little powdered wing. Okay. Start like that. You don't even have to do a wing if you don't want to. If you want to just create that depth in that outside corner and make your lashes look longer and darker, then just do that. Do you see how that just kind of thickens them up on that outside edge compared to this eye? You don't even have to do a wing. You can just stop right there. That's all you got to do. And all I'm doing is just tapping with that powder. All right, let's do a little bit of a wing right here. Not a big one, just a little one. Just a little baby wing right there. There we go. Perfect. Somehow my baby wings always turn into bigger wings, but we're gonna start. Okay, watch this eye. So this is my wings for dummies, for people that feel like you're struggling with a wing, for hooded eyes. Don't use a liquid, use a powder. The powder is gonna be easier for you to apply. It's also gonna be easier for you to trace if you want to go behind your powder or on top of your powder and do a winged liquid. And the reason that I say this is because when you get older or you have hooded eyes and you get those little creases, this is going to do a really good job of being able to take that skin that tends to fold and create those creases in the wing and the little zigzag. You can just take that skin and move it back and forth and color it in with powder. So it just makes it so much easier. I don't know that I really want to go too far, but I do love a good wing. So let's just go out right there. And then we'll just go out right there. And I'm just using the tip of that brush. There we go. All right, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take because this is drying up a little bit, mine is a little old. Let me see, do I have a new one? I do not. I do not. All right, so I'm just gonna take this, and this is where you're gonna see me trace it. So I'm gonna open this up really quickly before it dries out too much. Oh man, that one was not as straight as I wanted it to be, but that's okay. I didn't realize I had that much. There we go. For lack of a better word, ink liner is what I meant to say, but we're gonna clean this up just a smidge. Hold on, let's do this. We're gonna take a little bit of paper towel. I know that's kind of gross, but you know what? That's all I got. I don't have any water. And we are just going to got one right here. Gonna have to clean that up because that made a mess. It's because it's waterproof. And actually I sound like that person. What was his name? That rooster on the I don't even remember. With Bugs Bunny. Looney Tunes. I'll see. I got a little hair right there that I should possibly, let me see, are my tweezers in here? They're not, but that's okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take this, we're gonna clean that up. Let me show you what I'm gonna do. Same little cream brush. We're gonna get some of my foundation. And we're just going to clean that up. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Foghorn Leghorn. I'll see you there. Okay. There we go. I made a mess, guys. Wow, that got out of hand quick. Let's put some eyeshadow back. Those are 2 words, not 4. That's right. Foghorn Leghorn. My favorite was Pepe Le Pew, which now as an adult, when I think about it, I'm like, oh, he's kind of creepy. Dang it, Brianna. Get your together. What is happening today? I'm falling apart. I am falling apart. I don't know what's happening. You guys have never had this happen before. And of course, I'm in a hurry. Thought I was gonna come in here and just throw this on, and it doesn't help that this is waterproof freaking stuff. Tom and Jerry was good. I used to always love when, was it Tweety Bird was like sleepy and he'd close his eyes, and every time he'd open his eyes, the cat would be closer. All right, let's just try this again because I am making a complete mess. That and what was his name? Wile E. Coyote after the Red Runner. Well, there we go. We just gave myself a little bit of a lift, so that works. That just goes to show you, even people that do makeup all the time make mistakes. It's okay. You don't have to be a pro. And then we just lightly put the eyeshadow right back over it and fill it all in like nothing ever happened. Like nothing ever happened. There we go. Okay, let's see if I can do this time without messing up. All right, back to my eyeshadow. And then we're gonna do that little baby wing right there. There we go, perfect. Okay, now let's see if I can do this. Before I touch my face, I'm gonna touch it on my hand, and then we're gonna go right here and just get that. There we go, that's better. That's all I'm doing is just getting that corner. That's it. The rest is gonna stay like that. Okay, mascara, let me sit on it. I'm gonna do my brows really quickly. My mom said that she found out it is okay for us to spread my grandmother's ashes. She looked it up, called somebody, and they said you just have to have a special form and whatever. I don't know. She's like, I got everything. I talked to the people, and I'm like, okay, I'm glad you did, because I was like, Mom, somebody said it was illegal and we can't go do that. I was like, let's not get in trouble. So she asked the funeral home where they got the ashes cremated, and they told her contact these people, and that's what we did. So we're good. Okay, so we're gonna draw this bottom line. Do some little strokes. I'll be stroking. Stroke it to the east, and stroke it to the west, and stroke it to the woman that I love the best. I've been stroking. Stroke it, Clarence Carter. but don't stroke so fast. We're not going to finish the rest of that. If you know the song, you know why. That will definitely show your age. Okay, let's do this one. I want to say they played that when I was at the skating rink when I was a kid, but they beeped out the bad part. They beeped out the bad part. If you ever go too low on your brow, this little brush does everything. It helps clean up your eyeliner. It helps clean up your brows. It helps clean up the edges of your lips. All right, I'm 42. Like, listen, if you know the rest of that song and you can fill in the blanks, then you know why we're not going to sing it on Facebook. It's not appropriate. Okay, and then we're going to go up and out. I am missing the arch on the top of this brow. I don't know why. It just isn't formed like the other. So I kind of have to make it, which is hard to do. So this is when I pull out the little one. And the little one is where it's a little bit lighter and it's easier to draw strokes like this. So we're going to go up and out and up and out. Here we go. I'm trying to get this one to match that one is always hard. So these are my brow pencils. This one is kind of a lighter brown. The other one is a brown. I would not do dark brown and I would not do black. I would just do, so it's my two brow pencils. So this one's a little bit thicker. I use that one on the bottom to shape the bottom. And then this one is a little bit thinner and it's a lighter color. And I use this one to create the strokes just to try to get them as close as I can because my brows are totally different on my face and it drives me crazy. And I do get obsessed with my brows and it's not good. Okay, this one needs to come down just a little bit more. Okay, we're gonna just roll with that for right now. And we're gonna do the, hello Rebecca, how are you? All right, this is the lash curler that you get for free right now. Order 3 products, you get the lash curler for free. That is not a birthmark on my hand, that is makeup. I was showing you guys the difference in the 2 colors. Let me get my Quadra. I will say this has become my favorite. All right, we're gonna start with the lower side of the wand for volume and thickness. Wiggle at the root. Make sure you get that mascara all the way on all the little lashes, even the ones you can't see. Okay, and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna step away in a second. We're gonna step away in just a second, and we're gonna kind of let that dry for a minute, okay? So while that's drying, we're gonna come over here. I feel like I have a hair tickling my arm. I do, there it is right there. Okay, so we're gonna curl. I'm doing really, really good. Getting ready to go to the gym. And then we are going out line dancing tonight. We were supposed to go line dancing on Saturday. It was like our big once a month line dance event here in town. Actually, it's in Alpharetta. But after my grandmother's memorial, we did not feel like going. I was tired, and honestly, my stomach was hurting really bad. I kind of feel like I had like a 24-hour bug, but did not realize it. But every time I would eat, it started Friday night, and I thought it was just something I ate. But every time I would eat, my stomach would start cramping really, really bad. I don't know what it was. And then it happened after the memorial. All right, now we're gonna come back over here. We're gonna add a little bit more. This is where you get those long lashes. Anyway, we ate lunch after the service, and about 20 minutes after we ate, my stomach started cramping again, and I was like, could not hardly stand up straight. We were literally standing in a coffee shop in downtown Monroe. My nieces and my sister, they're all ordering their little coffees, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I gotta go to the bathroom. I was like, there's only one bathroom in this entire coffee shop. But sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. I don't like going to the bathroom in public, but when that happens and you're not feeling good, you just gotta go. So we did not go out Saturday night. We ended up staying home. I did not even eat dinner because even when we got home, my stomach was cramping still. And then I made myself like a piece of cheese toast. Is that something that you do up north or in California? Or is that a Southern thing? That's actually a legit question I have. So growing up, my grandmother used to always make us cheese toast. And cheese toast was, she would take a piece of bread, she would butter it, then she would take a piece of sliced cheese and she would put it on the bread and put it in the oven on broil, okay? And she would broil it until the cheese was like all melty and yummy. But me and her, we loved our food like burnt. Like my mama would, when she would cook her hot dogs on the grill, her hot dogs would be black. She loved burnt hot dogs. And so I kind of got that from her. And even my cheese toast, we would always put it back in the oven so that we could get a little bit of like the black bubbled cheese. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? If you know, then you know. But that was one thing that my grandmother used to always make for us. Cheese toast. When me and Pat first got together, he would make me his family's cinnamon toast. And his was better than any I have ever had. So his family always did the cinnamon toast. And they would put like extra amount of butter and tons and tons and tons and tons of sugar. And I think he would even sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon on his. I don't know. I was just like, I've never had cinnamon toast like this, but it was amazing. Let's see. Oh my God, I used to eat that in cinnamon brown sugar on toast the same way. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. My husband, he made that. I don't really know that we did the cinnamon toast as much. Ours was always the cheese toast. So I made myself a cheese toast because I was like, okay, that's not going to be hard on my stomach. It's just bread with a little bit of cheese. Within 4 bites, you guys, my stomach started cramping again. And I was like, bathroom time. So I didn't eat dinner. I did not eat dinner. I think Pat made himself like a sandwich or something. And we stayed in for Valentine's Day. That was our Valentine's Day. We watched The Mayor of Kingstown. We finished it. Oh my gosh, such a good show. Watched The Mayor of Kingstown, and I attempted to eat cheese toast. And Pat had a sandwich. I was like, happy Valentine's Day, babe. I love you. Sorry you married somebody that got sick on Valentine's Day. Actually, that's not what I said. I said, sorry you married the runt of the family who always seems sick. That's what I told him. I was like, I'm sorry that I always have something. I feel like that man's always taking care of me. All right. This is the look. We're going to do a little bit brighter on the cheeks. So let me grab that. We'll pop on a lip and we're done. We are done. All right, here we go. Fresh Orchid. This you can get. It's so good. Right, Danielle? It's the best. All right, so we're going to grab a little bit of this Fresh Orchid. Tap it on your brush. Tap it on your hand, okay? And there we go. Then you can blend that in, and that's just a really good match when you're doing like an eye like this. Just to bring a little color into your cheeks. Look at that. So good. Mama always done the cinnamon toast. It's so good, Rebecca. So good. I feel like I need a little bit more black eyeliner. This left eye always waters. I have extreme dry eye and then I have astigmatism. So this left eye always waters so bad. It's terrible. All right, here's my favorite lip combo. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. So what? Okay, so we're gonna do Patience, which is the pink, okay? You guys are gonna love this. Patience, which is this pink liner. Now, if you don't remember, I did the lip mask first while I was doing my face, so that when we got to this point, my lips are nice and smooth and soft, and the lip mask has already kind of absorbed a little bit. Oh, you know the one thing we did not do? We did not contour the lips. So this is palette number 9, palette 9. This is the best lip combo for a baby pink. And this is always my go-to bridal makeup. Now, if you have a little bit darker skin, it might look different on you. But if you're my skin tone or lighter, Affluent. Going with Affluent. And then we're gonna go in with Minted. And right in the center, so pretty. What I love about that is it almost mimics and replicates the eyes with like the darker on the outside and then that lighter pop right in the center. So good. All right, well, this is it, guys. I do have a couple of, so I've got 2 skincare bundles and I've got 2 makeup bundles that you're gonna be able to get. I've got 1 makeup bundle that's gonna give you your primer, your choice of primer. So primer, foundation, any foundation, concealer, and your setting product. And then you get the eye curler, lash curler for free. And then I have another one that's kind of like my finishing touches bundle, which is gonna be your mascara. It's going to be your lip liner, your 2 lipsticks, And then it's also going to be a blush and a highlight, which I cannot forget. I need to do my highlight right now because I've been forgetting my highlight lately. And the highlight really kind of finishes things off. Look at that. Makes the skin look so much healthier. It worked. Oh, Kim, I'm so happy. Kim had asked, right? She had come on last week and said that, you know, she had accidentally been kicked by her horse and what covers up bruising because she was going to, I think she said a graduation. So I privately sent her some information about color correcting bruises and different colors that, you know, for that. So I'm so happy that that worked. You're so welcome. You guys always message me if you have something that you know, need or want a little bit of help on, and I will be glad to help. All right, let's go right up underneath this with the highlight right in the center. And then we're gonna go right in the inside corner. I'm just doing my golden right in there. There we go. And that is it. So this is my favorite pink eyeshadow and lip combo. Again, you can get this. Just send me a message if you want to grab it. 20% off, free shipping, plus the free eyelash curler. And if you want to see these skincare bundles as well, just message me and say, hey, skincare, I can send that to you. And then we can also create any custom bundle that you want. So if you want a little bit of skincare and a little bit of makeup, we can do that. We can make it just for you. And I can also kind of walk you through and make sure you're getting exactly the right color and exactly the right skincare for your skin. All right, ladies, y'all have a wonderful day. I'm gonna go throw on my workout pants.